The community center in Fort Worth thrummed with a restless pulse, its worn linoleum floors scuffed from years of gatherings. The evening's public forum on fairness and opportunity had drawn a sprawling crowd from across Texas. The air held a taut expectancy, not quite optimism, but a charged, almost wary curiosity. Reporters lined the back wall, their notebooks open, cameras blinking red. Students in hoodies live-streamed on cracked phone screens, while activists with frayed satchels murmured to retirees clutching crumpled flyers. At the front, Jasmine Crockett stood behind a modest podium, her posture sharp, one hand brushing her hip, a telltale sign she was braced for impact. She just delivered a searing speech on poverty and access, her voice slicing through the room like a taut wire. We can't preach about a thriving nation when families grind themselves down and still can't put food on the table. The crowd stirred, some clapping, others nodding. But Jasmine was already pivoting to questions. "All right, who's up?" she said, her gaze sweeping the aisles, settling on a microphone stand near the center. A small figure stepped forward, almost lost in the sea of adults with lanyards and pressed shirts. She was a girl, no more than 9, slight, in a faded sweatshirt and sneakers with laces fraying at the tips. She clutched a spiral journal, its cover creased like a cherished relic. The moderator, Malik, a man with a warm voice and weary eyes, knelt beside her. "What's your name, little one?" he asked, tilting the mic. She whispered something faint, but he smiled and nudged the stand closer. Her name was Zara, and her eyes fixed on Jasmine with a quiet fire, a blend of nerves and unyielding focus. "You keep saying you'll help people," she began, her voice soft but cutting through the room's low buzz like a blade. "So why does my brother Sam go to bed hungry when my mom works day and night?" The question landed like a sudden hush, silencing the crowd. A pen rolled off a chair, its clatter sharp in the stillness. No one shifted, no one scrolled. The room held its breath. Zara stood rooted, her eyes shimmering but her voice steady as stone. Jasmine, usually quick with a retort, froze. Her face, often a shield of resolve, softened. Not from discomfort but from a flicker of something raw, almost familiar. She gripped the podium, opened her mouth, then closed it, searching for words that wouldn't dissolve under the girl's gaze. "What's your name again?" she asked, her tone gentle, barely above a whisper. "Zara," the girl replied. "And your brother?" "Sam," Zara said, her voice dipping. "He's sick. Mom saves her meals for him, but we can't always get what he needs. The food pantries run dry." The silence grew heavy, like the air before a downpour. A woman in the fourth row pressed a tissue to her face. An older man in a faded cap stared at his knuckles, as if Zara's words had unearthed a buried ache. Jasmine took a slow breath, her shoulders straightening, but her voice carried no trace of its usual edge. "That's a real question," she said, no polish, no deflection. "And I don't have an answer that's good enough right now." The honesty hung there, unguarded, almost fragile. She met Zara's eyes. "We get caught up chasing big laws, big systems, but that doesn't fix your brother's hunger today. You shouldn't have to call that out." A man near the exit lowered his phone, pausing his recording. The crowd leaned in, some nodding, others still, as if Zara had shifted the room's gravity. Jasmine stepped from the podium, her heels clicking softly on the floor, and approached Zara. She crouched, meeting the girl's gaze. "Can I carry your question with me?" she asked. "I need to sit with it." Zara nodded, her fingers tightening around her journal, her knuckles pale. Jasmine stood, returned to the mic and said, "We'll stop questions here. That one's enough." Malik signaled the next segment, but the room felt different, like a canvas stretched taut, its surface marked by an unseen line. Zara's family wasn't one for spotlights. They lived in a one-bedroom apartment on the frayed edge of Bakersfield, where the streets were pitted and streetlights flickered like tired stars. Her mother, Nadia, worked 2 jobs. Nights scrubbing floors at a medical center, days sorting inventory at a discount mart. She maneuvered Sam's stroller, its left wheel wobbling, each outing a quiet wrestle with its unsteady frame. Sam, a year younger than Zara, had a metabolic condition that turned food into a gamble. Wrong choices brought pain, nausea, sometimes worse. He needed fresh produce, lean meats, specialized supplements, items their budget couldn't reach and local aid couldn't provide. Food banks offered rice, canned soup, peanut butter, but those were useless for Sam. Nadia masked her worry with a tight smile, saving her tears for the bathroom after the kids slept, the faucet running to muffle the sound. Zara knew more than a 9-year-old should. She could stretch a bag of potatoes for days, stay silent during tense calls with creditors, keep Sam calm by reading from her journal. Her stories weren't fairy tales but vivid escapes. A girl who wove a raft from bottle caps to cross a river of comets. A boy whose sickness sparked hidden powers. Nadia kept those pages in a shoebox under her bed, whispering to Zara, "You're bound for bigger things. Don't let this life chain you." She said it like a vow, fierce against the weight of their days. They'd reached the forum by chance. A local aid group offered free tickets, and Nadia hoped Jasmine might share a practical tip, a way to navigate their grind. Zara was just excited for a road trip, her first beyond Bakersfield's limits. They borrowed a neighbor's sedan, its seats tacky with old soda, and drove through the night. Nadia hummed soul tunes, Sam slept against Zara's shoulder, and Zara watched the highway lights blur past, her journal a steady weight in her lap. At dawn, they parked near the center, and Nadia smoothed Zara's braid on a bench, wiping her face with a folded tissue before they joined the crowd. Zara listened as Jasmine spoke of equity and progress. The words were big, but they felt hollow when Sam woke each morning wincing. When Malik opened the floor, Zara didn't raise her hand. She slipped through the crowd, heart racing, journal clutched tight, and stepped to the mic. She didn't see the cameras or the sea of faces, just Jasmine, who seemed like someone who might hear. Jasmine had faced countless questions, on policy, justice, even her own choices, but none struck like Zara's. After the forum, she lingered in the emptying hall, asking her aide, Lena, to find Nadia and Zara. "I need to understand them," she said, her voice quieter than usual. Lena nodded and disappeared into the thinning crowd. Jasmine stood by the stage, watching the last stragglers leave, a rare uncertainty settling in her chest. She was used to leading, to having answers, but this moment demanded something else. In her DC office days later, Jasmine replayed the clip of Zara's question, her staff sharing it in hushed tones. On her fifth watch, she paused on Zara's face. Those eyes held a courage that didn't need to shout. She closed her laptop and called Darius, a friend who ran a Texas nonprofit. "Kids like Sam can't wait for the next election," she said. "What can we do now?" Darius promised to dig in and call back. Jasmine turned to her window, the city's lights flickering like half-kept promises. Zara's question spread like a spark. Shared on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, it racked up millions of views, tagged with hashtag #SamDeserves and hashtag ZaraSpoke. Supporters called Zara a voice for the unseen. Teachers, cashiers, parents posted, "She's saying what we carry." A nurse in Charlotte shared a shaky video. "This girl's question is my patients' lives." But not all were kind. Some accused Nadia of scripting it, called Zara a prop. A commentator sneered, "Why's a kid at a policy talk?" Nadia saw the posts, the memes, the debates, but shut her phone off, focusing on Sam's next dose and Zara's math homework. "They don't know our fight," she told Zara. "You spoke what's real." Jasmine stayed quiet, no statements, no interviews, letting the moment breathe. Her silence stirred more chatter. In Portland, students started a fundraiser for kids with special diets, citing Zara. In Houston, a grandmother spent her pension on food for a shelter, scribbling for Sam on the bags. In Atlanta, a city official held up Zara's image. "We're funding bridges while kids starve. That's our priority." Reporters knocked on Nadia's door, one offering cash for an interview. She refused, wanting only Sam's health, not headlines. At school, Zara faced murmurs. A boy on the playground said his mom thought she was disrespectful to Jasmine. Zara didn't respond, just sat by the fence, writing a new story about a girl whose words lit up a silent city. Her teacher, Ms. Carter, gave the class time to write letters to leaders, saying, "Speak like Zara, plain and true." In a San Antonio podcast studio, Jasmine faced a host's question, "How did Zara shift you?" She didn't pause. "She showed me I was missing something," she said. "I thought hunger was someone else's battle. Now I know it's mine." The host leaned forward. "What's your move?" Jasmine gave a wry smile, brushing her chin. "Listen harder, talk less. Zara handed me a map, and I've been acting like I know the way." Sam, always reserved, told Nadia one evening, "I want to send her a letter." Surprised, she asked, "Who, honey?" "Ms. Crockett. She should know I saw her." He worked on it for days, his hands trembling, refusing Zara's help. "You spoke. This is mine." His note was short, each word a quiet triumph. "Dear Miss Crockett, I'm Sam, Zara's brother. Thank you for treating her like she's real. She's tough, but she's sad when she thinks I'm not watching. I'm not upset. I know you're trying. I want to study stars, but first I want my stomach to stop fighting me. Food's hard when it hurts. I don't want attention, just Mom to not be so tired and Zara to write more. Her story about the crystal stream is for me. Read it if she shares. Your friend, Sam." Nadia emailed it through Jasmine's website, expecting silence. A week later, a plain package arrived. No logos, just their address in smudged ink. Inside was a hardcover journal labeled Zara's Worlds, with a note, "Keep building stories. We hear you. G." A card read, "For Sam, food that heals." Soon, a delivery arrived. Greens, fish, supplements. Sam ate a bite of salmon and whispered, "It's okay today." Zara watched, scribbling fast, her eyes bright. Nadia waited until the kids slept, then sat under the kitchen's dim bulb, tears falling quietly. She hadn't felt this lightness in years. Jasmine didn't broadcast the effort. She didn't link it to votes or cameras. But the program grew small, steady, in cities like Fresno, Memphis, and Trenton, targeting families like Sam's. It didn't erase hunger, but it reshaped responsibility. In Seattle, kids launched a Truth Circles project, asking why clean air was a luxury. In Orlando, a viral post echoed, "Zara showed us how to see." In Bakersfield, Ms. Carter set a new rule. No waiting to share stories. "Some voices just step up," she said. Zara kept writing, late at night, after helping Sam with his shoes or stacking dishes. Her stories stretched further. Tales of rivers made of light, of hunger that learned to leave. That spring, she finished a slim book, What Carries Too Much, dedicated to those who heard when it stung, and to Sam, who taught hunger to wait until we pushed it out. At dinner, Nadia asked, "Why did she listen?" Zara thought, then said, "I didn't ask her to be a savior. I asked her to see." Sam smiled. A fork of kale paused midair. Maybe that was it, not loud promises or riches, but facing truth without looking away. Because one small voice, clear and unyielding, doesn't just break the quiet. It shapes what lingers long after.